Wow.
They can totally tell it's new because there's not a bunch of stuff in the way that prevents them from telling it's new.
Yeah.
Oh. So funny. What's wrong, Billy?
We probably should mute that. Whoops.
Free advertising for
Skittles. Wait, we did not Skittles. Totally did not advertise something that we're not supposed to do a product placement
for
that we don't have a license agreement with.
Sugar fruit snack.
Sugar fruit snack, yes. Sugar fruit snacks.
Off-brand.
My favorite.
Of the Avatar.
Yes. Here we are. It's our first live stream in our new office. Although technically, I did a test earlier. So if you want to get technical and you want to lawyer me, bro, then you could say this is our second live stream from the new office.
Sure. How long was that one?
It was like 10 seconds, 30 seconds, maybe.
If it's shorter than 30 seconds, it's not a stream.
I like it. I like it. I think that's a law.
Rules.
I think that is the law. They say shorter than 30 seconds.
Yes, Twitch law.
That's Twitch law. And I'm practicing lawyer of Twitch law. And like Harvey Birdman. So there you go. Bird law is is also a segment of law that most people don't practice. So
bird politics.
Bird politics. All right. So speaking of bird law and politics, we have prizes.
Yay!
I don't know. That was a terrible segue. So but actually not, because it involves the law. Because there are two ways to get a prize. You can purchase something on the store to get a prize. That is one way. And the second way to get a prize is no purchase necessary, because that is the law. You can get into the game, log into the game, and type roll the dice. And if you type that, you will be entered to win. And we're going to give out two prize drawings, one at 4:15 and one at 4:45. And the theme of the prizes today is dies.
Dies?
I like it. There was just a question. Like dies, but
it's not roll the dies.
Oh, I get it. It's dies as in color dies, not dice, and not like dies like death.
That's right.
Color dies.
But oh man, I can only dye my clothes.
That's wrong, Sarah. What? You can dye decorations now.
Wow!
I know. It's so exciting. And right now you can only dye a handful of decorations. But spoiler alert to my next topic, you're going to be able to dye a lot more in R58, which I'm going to tell you about in a second. But first of all, you're going to get a bunch of dyes. So we've got all sorts of dye prizes. So that's what the prizes are going to be. And the sale over the weekend is going to be all sorts of dyes. But that's, of course, overshadowed because everything, not quite. Almost everything is on sale right now because we're trying to get some more stretch goals. And I should have had... Here, wait, let me get it.
Yeah, we're tracking towards the R57 stretch goals,
right,
which are the dungeon-themed ones. And we are currently at $66,505, which means we surpassed the 65,000 stretch goal mark, which was...
the unique dungeon entrance. Woo! So there's going to be a unique dungeon entrance that only those of you who either purchase something on one of these Fridays during the release or are part of our rewards program, you're going to have a unique dungeon entrance that no one else has. Other things that you guys are going to have, the spike trap and arrow trap decorations, the candle helm, the flame trap decoration, and the roll dice emote. Speaking of the roll dice, for the prizes. But what we really love to get, of course, is if we get to 80K, we're going to get the torture set, which is torture. Everyone loves torture. No, we don't. It's terrible, and it doesn't work. You don't get real information. You just get whatever the torturer wants you to say. We all know that. But
but it's fun for the torturer.
It is fun for the torturer.
What's in the torture set?
Torture set includes a chair, a table, and a rack.
Yay, the rack! Because
Yes.
if you want to get like a couple inches taller, you stretch yourself out.
Sadly, just like the height you gain when you go into space, it doesn't last.
Oh man.
Yeah. So 80K, that's our goal for today. And I know we can do it. It'll be awesome. And then we'll get that torture set along with all the other stuff that you guys already achieved. It'll be very, very fun. So good work, everybody. But this is the last Friday for us to do it because next week is release 58. And release 58 is already on QA. And of course, the first thing that everyone wants to know is where are the damned wyverns?
Or why are the windverns? Or the wereverns?
Or the wyverns, or the wyverns, or the wyverns. The pronunciation battles have begun, or have been going for a while now. Wyverns, I believe, is the correct pronunciation, but whatever, man. You can say it however you want. Anyway, they are definitely going in release 58. They are not on QA yet, unfortunately, but they will be hopefully in a build on QA. If not for tonight, it will definitely be on Monday. And what's cool is we've got a cool fictional tie-in with our barbarian tribes. You know, the barbarians, the Norgard barbarians have different tribes. There's like the wolf tribe and the bear tribe, and then there's the dragon tribe. Guess who tames wyverns? The dragon barbarians. Get it?
Yeah.
It's that Sanyo guy. He's always thinking.
Clever.
So that's going to be in R58. A bunch of add-on store weapons. Ooh, and I have some show and tell that I prepared. Hopefully this works. Again, we're in our new office. So reminder that we just moved. So please be gentle and patient with us. We had a little bit of a challenge with our move. So our original plan was that we would have internet up and going simultaneously at both offices, and we were going to have a leisurely move over a couple of weeks where our connections and everything, our servers are going to be running at both offices, and then a provider that starts with an A and ends with a T, but I'm not going to say who it was, decided to turn off our service on Friday before the 2 weeks were well before the 2 weeks. So we had to move quite rapidly. That kind of disrupted a lot of our plans. Anyway, not everything is going to plan.
Yeah, and we're all very tired.
Yes.
We all had to move a lot of our stuff ourselves.
Yeah.
I was so tired on Monday.
Yeah. So please be gentle and patient with us. But anyway, that's the wrong one. Here we go. So these are some of the new weapons and that you're going to see in Release 58 this is the Royal Elven Bow. That is the Oracle Hammer. That is the new Ornate Scythe, and this is going to be unlike the scythe we did last year. That's a rare that expired. This is going to be a scythe that recurs every year.
So badass.
Yeah, it's really cool looking. That's another shot of it. This one, which one? This is the Kobold Ransor Spear. It's got the spikes on the side. That's why it's that's the Ransor.
Oh, that's what that means.
Yeah. This is the Ornate Viking Hammer. It's got kind of a icy, kind of cold beam to it. Mjolnir. This is the Royal Elven Shield. It's got a cool glowy bit in it. This is the Royal Elven Spear. This is and we got a bunch of the Release 56 stretch goal items done. So here's the Ether Crossbow. You have to really see these animating, so the screenshots don't do them justice. The Ether glowy spark effects is really amazing. Here's the Ether Lich statue, the Ether Longbow. Here are the 2018 Jack-o'-lanterns.
Yay, spookies!
A bunch of cool stuff coming up. Very exciting stuff. Let me switch back. All right. Let's see. Other things coming in Release 58. player-made dungeons. So we're making cool progress on those. Cross your fingers. We think that we're going to be able to give you the ability to start laying out your dungeons with the in-game basic craftable set in Release 58. So cross your fingers. We think that's going to happen, and that will. But you're still going to have the ability to have that and your sample dungeon, because if we get the ability for you to lay out your dungeon, you're not going to yet have the ability to put spawns or creatures or anything like that in it. So we wanted to give you the ability, but at least give you the ability to lay it out, but not turn off your sample dungeon, because the sample dungeon, of course, has encounters and things in it, and you're not going to have the ability to place those yet. Oh yeah, and real quick note, I'm sorry I haven't got a rough draft of the R58 post out. Again, the whole thing about us moving, I've literally been spending half of every single day at the old office moving and packing and getting things done and move over and getting things ready for the new office. So that's why there is no early draft of the R58 post. I'll probably get it out on Monday, but that's why that's not yet. But it's coming, probably not till Monday. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, the old office is really close, but Star's been back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and most of the stuff that's not our own desks packing, Star's been doing.
Yeah. So yeah, and labeling stuff, because a bunch of stuff that isn't coming to the new office has to go into storage, and then some stuff is going to Goodwill. So basically, I have to divide up our old office into thirds of like what's coming to the new office, what's going to storage, and what's going to Goodwill. So, all right, we're making some AI improvements to close some loopholes. We I showed you all those ether items. So all the Release 56 stretch goals items are done. That's the sword, the shield, the ether die, the longbow, the crossbow, the lich statue. The last R54 item, which is the leaf backpack. The last R55 item, which is the silver serpent wand. Those are all going to be done. The 2018 rare spooky content, that's the jack-o'-lanterns and the jack-o'-lantern masks. Re-Rollo once again made some really fun ones. And let's see. Oh, and the spoiler I gave earlier, the die sale this weekend is because we added over 30 more dyeable decorations to the game, including a bunch of craftable items, beds and chairs, and a whole bunch of things from the store as well. 34, I think, was the final count of those. So fishing, we're making progress on that. So bait is now an active skill. So you actually use the worm instead of your fishing skill to do your fishing, like seeds in agriculture. And we've also started flagging all the different water types, so fresh, salt, etc. And that's part of the weekly update. So you'll get a nice overview of all the things that are coming in Fishing Phase 2. Some combat balance, performance, and tons of bug fixing. That's all that's coming in. That's just a sample of the things coming in Release 58. And then Q4 is going to be amazing. So next week, in addition to Release 58 going live, is when our Q4 post goes live as well. And so it's going to just have a bunch of amazing things. So we have our adult dragons. We have our wyverns, which are going live in Release 57, which are our teen dragons. Mm-hmm. So what are we missing?
Children.
Baby dragons, or as we decided on the live stream when Barrick appeared, we decided we're going to call them Drakens.
Ooh, like a dragon.
Yeah, in honor of Barrick. So we should definitely call them Drakens. So those are going to be in Q4. We're going to have the boxes at the Amazon store. We're going to start shipping Phase 2 of the boxes. So there's a post today, post that I made a couple of weeks ago about that. So get your addresses verified, because we're going to start doing that. Fishing phase 2. Oh, prizes. So before I finish talking about Q4, I think we should give out some prizes.
Ooh, okay. So we have the Pure Black Die 12-pack goes to Cheese Sensei. Pure White Die 12-pack goes to Magnus Nova Stalker. Cool name. The Die Remover 12-pack goes to Engineer. Magical Cycling Die 12-pack goes to Sheldon Cooper. Magical Sparkle Die Mega Pack goes to Armelian Vasses. Magical Glowing Pulse Die Mega Pack goes to Shimizu. Magical Glowing Die Mega Pack goes to Artemis. And the Super Die Mega Pack goes to Timothy Evans. Congratulations! And you can enter again to win by saying roll the dice in game, or spending any amount on the store.
And that's dice, D-I-C-E.
Dice.
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 Not to be confused with dies,
Dice.
which are what's going to be on sale this weekend, and the big expansion of Dieable Decorations that we're doing. And not to be confused with dies as in death. Dice.
He dies.
The rolling of the dice. So don't be confused.
And say it in game.
And say it in game, not in Twitch chat, not in Discord.
Not whispering under your breath to yourself.
Yes. And don't shout it at the screen. I mean, you could, but that won't win you the thing.
As you type.
Also, making a purchase in the store enters you to win as well. But you don't need to do that. No purchase necessary because that is the law. All right. Continuing on what Q4 will entail. More quality of life, more UI polish, a completely revamped new user experience. Oh my God, it's so much better. So we've been having a series of meetings on how to make the new user experience better. A couple of key changes we're going to do. So we're completely separating the build you start with from the area you start in the game. And we're actually going to be starting everyone with all 3 decks. So you're going to get the fighter, mage, and archer deck as a starting character. Because what we realized is it was very misleading. We have this whole classless system, yet we start you with this build that makes you feel like you're a class in a classless system. And so we're fixing that. We're also we're inserting a whole tutorial level after you enter the Lunar Rift before you go to any of the starting scenes. That's very focused on teaching you the basics of the game, teaching you how to fight, teaching you how to use all 3 of those decks, how to use those skills, and we're pulling out all the tutorial aspects out of those starting scenes so we can focus on just telling you the story in those starting scenes and telling you the narrative. I ran through part of that earlier this week, and it's so much better. Oh my God, it's so much better. And that tied with our new website. Once those go live together in Q4, that's going to allow us to really be able to market the game better, appeal to more players. So it's going to be great. Backslot items. So you're going to be able to enchant and masterwork and have stats associated with backslot items. And there's going to be 3. At least we're going to start with 3 archetypes. So strength and so backpacks. The backpack archetype is going to be things like strength and carry capacity. Cloaks are going to do things like stealth and defense and backstab protection. Wings are going to do dex and speed. So that's going to make it so it's not just the shroud that is the thing that everybody wears once they get it. Back slots are now going to have stats associated with them. Player-made dungeons, of course, are going to expand and have more functionality. We're going to have seasonal content and more seasonal creatures. So you've seen the spooky content, but of course we're going to have our winter and Christmas content and seasonal creatures. So Pumpkinhead and Krampus, and we've got some really cool plans for Krampus and his army of undead zombie children. So it's very, 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 very cool.
The holiday spirit.
Yeah, in the holiday spirit. So, and if you want to know more details about that Pumpkinhead and Krampus, that's actually going to be one of the topics of our deep dives in the R58 live stream, which I'm going to make that post early next week. So we're going to talk about Pumpkinhead and Krampus and just our overall seasonal content plans and how we're doing those and things like that. Loot improvements, more gold, more loot. We're having the new website, more AI improvements, and that's in Q4. And again, the Q4 post will go live next week, probably on Thursday. So Wednesday, the release 58 post will go live. Then Thursday, of course, release 58 will go live. And then same day, we'll have the Q4 post. And then 2019, we have some amazing plans in 2019. So crafting specialization where you choose your effect, Grandmaster only effects, more loot improvements, more add-on store weapons, more fishing, better boss fights, and then of course episode 2, which we're aiming for the end of 2019, which was going to have a complete revamp of the quest system and the journal, theater system, treasure hunting with treasure maps, item affinity and reputation, tons of expansions to the taming system with pet leveling, pet skills, and pet customization, customizable NPCs, and an expanded permission system for containers and doors. So lots of amazing stuff coming up. Shroud's just going to get better and better and better. So, reminder that this is the final Friday to get Release 57 stretch goals. So you can get them by making a purchase today, or you can join our rewards program, which gets you a great exchange rate on Crowns of the Obsidians, which you can use to do things like buy items in-game that are normally only available in the store, or you can use them to do things like repair your items. It also, being part of the rewards program, automatically participates you in getting the live stream rewards, and it gets you cool titles by being a member for 3 months, or every 3 months you get a title like Keeper of the Faith, Keeper of the Word, and then my favorite, which is like after 12 months you get Keeper of the Flame. So by supporting us for 12 months. And then I mentioned physical goods. So phase 1 went out. By now, everyone who was in phase 1 should have gotten their goods. That was the post that we made a couple of weeks ago. If you have not gotten your collector's box, that means that you probably weren't in phase 1. So that means that it's time to work with us on getting in phase 2.
But before you write in, make sure that your address is confirmed in Edit Profile, and that if you're outside the United States, you have international shipping. And also make sure you have the right pledge level. So it was only Explorer and above that would have gotten physical goods, and not all of those. So check that before you write into me. And also, please keep in mind, next week is release week, and we're very busy. Right. I will try to get to your tickets, but I might be a little slow. Yeah.
So heads up that it'll probably not be next week. It'll probably be the week after that before we get some responses going, just because of release next week. And we just moved.
Yes.
So whatever slowdown or response times that we have, we just moved. So please be gentle. Let's see. Projects to back. So the New Beginnings comic, which is the second comic.
It's so cool.
That they only have 6 days left in their Kickstarter. So You should jump on and support them. Bob the Builder Medical Fund is going amazing. Oh my God, they raised so much money for Bob. So thank you, community. You guys are amazing. And it's not too late. SodaCon is coming up in just a few weeks. And it's not too late to join for the King's Dinner, which is going to be a lot of fun. You get to hang out with us. And then don't forget, September 27th, next Thursday, R58 goes live. And then October 1, the following Monday, is the R58 dance party, where you'll have very own me DJing. And by the way, I'll also be DJing at SodaCon in person. It's
Wow.
weird. It'll be my first time to live DJ, which, I mean, I'll be basically doing the same thing. I'll just be standing right next to my laptop.
You can finally realize your dream of becoming a DJ.
I will realize my dream of becoming a DJ, but in person. And October 4th is our Release 58 live stream. And like I said, I will be posting the details about that next week, but here's your spoilers. So we'll be doing a deep dive about seasonal content. We'll be doing some more, we'll be doing a deep dive again about dungeons because we have some more information about that. And the theme for, spoiler, for the theme for the Release 58 live stream is going to be dragons.
Dragons!
So, and we've got some really cool stretch goal items teed up for that I think you guys will read. And maybe should I reveal one right now?
Yes!
Okay, so maybe I should reveal two because they're cool. So one is a dungeon entrance that's a dragon dungeon entrance. So like you walk between the dragon, like the big dragon. And then another one is an emote. So we've got a breathe fire emote, but this one is a breathe fire where the fire spirals like this. So you breathe the fire out and it does a spiral effect. So those are the
as
those
fire
are
does in nature.
Well, what man? You know, like if you like maybe you're like doing
It's magic.
It's yeah.
It's a fantasy game.
Right. Yeah. Magic, damn it, or whatever. So those are a couple of stretch goals that'll be in the Release 58 dragon themed stretch goals. So it's going to be very, very cool. So we're very excited by that. And yeah, so I think those are all the news that is fit to print. And yes, we do actually print our news like old school
I have it
news
memorized.
anchors.
No, I'm kidding.
You know, because we like the news like that. And a big thank you to our community. You guys are awesome. Thank you for your feedback. And if you haven't checked out QA, please do. We're once again, we moved, so we're a little behind. So not everything is in that build yet, but we're scrambling to catch up, and it's going to be in there, and then it'll be ready for the release next week, and we're very excited. And so now we're going to get Joaquin and Scotty in here, and we're going to talk about player-made books and all the player writables. We have a bunch of really cool stuff. Okay.
I'll go get them.
All right, great. All right. So while I'm sitting here, I guess if you guys want to ask something while I'm sitting here, where's the new office? The new office is actually just up the street. It's one highway exit up and like 3 blocks over from our old office. So very, very close. And it just happened to work out that way. We found some people that were moving out and needed a sublease, and that was great. So, and it's funny, it was a similar situation to our old office where a company that got acquired by another company, and they just left a bunch of stuff. So we acquired a bunch of desks and chairs and a nice TV and all this stuff. And just like last time, we didn't get servers though. They did not leave a whole bunch of like rack servers like the last time that this happened. But almost, like We got like a whole dining rig. You can come in, Scotty. I'm literally just trying to fill time until you guys get here. We got like a whole dining setup. We got as many desks as we need, as many chairs, a whole bunch of stuff. All right, here we go. So let me get this going. All right. And then get the game going. Get over here. All right.
All right.
I'm
Excellent.
going to set the game time for you guys. Right. There you go.
Nice.
And it's not even raining now.
All right.
Thank you. Hey guys.
How y'all doing? Sorry we missed you last week, but I guess you heard the explanation.
Oh yeah. So that was what I was earlier talking about how the company that starts with A and ends in T turned off our internet early. That is why we didn't have the live stream earlier last week, and that's why we're having this Player Made Books live stream today versus last week. So and it's all about books and writables. Yep. And so I decided that Joaquin, who has worked a lot on the system that supports this, and especially most recently on things like mail, which uses the writable system, of course, to send mail. And then Scotty, who's done a lot of the art, like things like the printing press and the book covers. And then most recently, Scotty has wanted to start adding some written materials. And then, Scotty, of course, has regaled us with stories. So I thought they would be a perfect pair to show off the books to you guys.
Yeah.
And of course, by the way, it's awesome to see all the stuff. Like, for instance, one of the first objects that I made were the entire set of crafting tables. So to come full circle back here and see all these new recipes and stuff, utilizing some of that old art is awesome because I see them actually, in function and use. Of course, all this is old hat to you guys, and most of you might even know how to do most of the stuff we're doing. But this is great for me because having been on the other side of things, just producing artwork and things like that for so long, I never really had the chance to actually go in the game and utilize the stuff. In fact, it was Minerva who was very kind to kind of give me sort of a tutorial on her own in her own little area. And of course, she didn't have the perspective you have of actually knowing the gears and working mechanisms of how all this stuff works and why. So, but it was really cool because I was able to get kind of a taste of it then, published a couple little things then with her help. And now we're going to do that again with you, and you can give us even more insight, which I think is cool.
Okay. Yeah. So I want to start with just a few basic things, a few basic ways that you can create your own writable content in the game. So one of the first things I want to show you is just a blank piece of paper. We have a blank piece of paper here sitting on this table, and so I'm just going to double click on it, and it just brings up this interface here. You can see it just looks like a blank piece of paper and it says it can be written on it. So I'm just going to click write. I'll give this a title. I'll just call this demonstration. And as you can see, the title of that that I'm giving to this paper is appearing up here in the top left corner.
As you type, yeah.
Yeah, as I type. I can optionally change the font to runic if I want to. But since I can't really read runic myself, I'm going to just stick with the default. So I'll stay there and continue. And so now a cursor appears, and so I can just type whatever I want. Hello. And so this is just a real simple way to just jump in there and be able to just write anything you want, and then once you're done, you can publish it, and that means basically that you're done editing it, and nobody will ever be able to edit this this content ever again after you published it. That makes sure that once you are satisfied with it, then nobody else is going to come back and change it to something that you didn't want. And so I'll just publish that. And so now you can see that it says demonstration when I hover over it, and I can now give this paper to anybody I want, and they'll be able to read whatever I've written on there.
I have a couple questions, by the way. So, it looks like the type of, not font, but the lettering choice, whether you're typing in standard text or whether you're typing in Runic, that choice for the title carries through for the entire document at that point, right? You can't mix and match. You can't say title in Runic, text in regular.
Right,
Okay.
right. So when you choose the font, it's going to apply to both the title and whatever you've written.
Okay.
Other than the title.
And what you just did with the piece of paper that's sitting on the table, can you do that from your inventory as well?
Yeah. So wherever that blank piece of paper or that blank book happens to be, whether it's sitting on your lot, your housing lot in the world, or if it's in your inventory, you can just double click on it and it'll bring up that same interface and you'll be able to write on it. So right here next to that paper is a blank book. Nice thing about a book is it's basically the same thing, except has a couple extra things. First of all, a blank book can be, you can actually write multiple pages onto a blank book, whereas a blank piece of paper, you can actually put one page of content. So there's that. But also, with a blank book, you can import text from a file, which comes with its own special benefits that we will talk about later on.
Yeah, I played with that. That was actually a lot of fun.
So we'll come back around to that.
So another question, I'm assuming a big difference between books and just a piece of paper is that there are different limits on how much you can put on the piece of paper versus the book as a player?
Right. So the piece of paper is limited to just one page, whereas a book is not limited at all in number of pages. But they are both limited to 8,000 characters. So you can only put on either one. You can only put 8,000 characters.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So
if you're wanting to write like a really long story, then you'll probably have to separate it out into multiple volumes. So maybe a few different volumes, so that you can have more space to write. You have 3 volumes, and that'll be 24,000 characters that you'll have to write with.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, if the piece of paper, even though it's 8,000 characters, you can't go beyond what that single page fits, and then that's it. You don't get a stack of papers or anything like that. That would be multiple objects.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So as you can see, you can place these writable objects down on your lot. One interesting thing that you can do is you can get a bulletin board. So this right here is a bulletin board. It's just a regular kind of deco, but it allows you to place these flyers, bulletin board flyers on them. And bulletin board flyers are basically like a special type of blank paper, except the only difference is that they have this little tack on it, and so you can actually put it up onto a wall, such as the bulletin board. So that's really just the same kind of thing as blank paper, just in a different form, where the blank paper lies flat like that, and the flyer can be put up on the wall like that.
Now, this is the only place where this particular type of thing can be put, right? The actual paper with a little tack through them doesn't count as a deco item that you could put on your wall or anything, is it? You can pretty much only put them on the bulletin board?
I thought that you could put it on the wall, but do you know the answer to that, Star?
I don't.
Okay. Well,
that's something to test at some point in time.
I have a feeling that you can put them on the wall, but I might be wrong about that. But a bulletin board is a great place to put those anyways, because it's just sort of like, especially if you have a housing lot, like have a centrally located.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
okay. That's great. Yeah, and a lot of these questions are coming from me out of ignorance, again, because I haven't had a chance to really play with a lot of this stuff. Some I have, not a lot, and I really like this kind of stuff. Now the bulletin board, it doesn't count as a special interface wherein these things are placed. It literally is like a wall that simply looks like a place you should put these. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay.
Right. So there's not much that's special about the bulletin board. It's just
its looks.
Well, it's there are very few. It is one of the only vertically oriented decorations that allows you to put other decorations on it.
Oh, so even walls normally, even freestanding walls don't allow that.
No.
Oh, so it is a special
because
case.
There's a lot of issues with that.
Okay.
So let's go take a look at one other basic writable in the game, and that is signs. So right here I have this sign that's placed on the lot, and so if I just double click on it, since I'm the owner of that sign, it will bring up this little interface, and I can make that sign say whatever I want as long as it fits within here. So player made book. Let's say maybe I want to make like a bookshop, so I'll have a sign in front of my bookshop that's called bookseller or something like that. So now I'll save that, and the way that other people will see that text is by hovering their mouse over it. Now when anybody hovers their mouse over that sign, they'll see whatever text that you put there. In this case, bookseller. Yeah. So a few different ways to kind of very easily use writables in the game, use and create them. Like I mentioned, there are some kind of more advanced things you can do with the custom book. You can import a file. So let's look at that. We've already have some files that we've made beforehand.
Yes, I created some creepy. I created some creepy poetry in honor of the fact that the Halloween season is rushing up on us nice and fast.
Yeah. So these files are just placed in a special location on our computer here. To get to that location easily, you can type in the chat window / data folder, and that will just open up the place where these go. So it'll open up this location, and then you can just go to custom books, and here's where we put those files that we've made before.
Simple text files
right.
created.
So then the game will just look in that folder and pull out whatever files that you put there. In this case, it's these two files that we put there earlier.
Now you can see the difference between these two files. One I have listed as Mother Loves You, the actual name of the book, with nothing else. That's an unformatted version. And then there's Mother Loves You formatted. And the reason why I wanted to bring that up is that when you're actually typing, and I found out, Joaquin indicated to me that when you're typing in a book, just typing by hand and just filling it out that way, you can't really format it in any specific way other than the typical ways you can like add capitals and things like that. You can't underline it. You can't make it bold or italic or even change the color of the font. But if you create your text in advance, which I found really, really cool to do, and Minerva showed me that, I dipped my toes into it with Minerva, but then Joaquin gave me some even more further information about how to make that happen. Then in the text file itself, as long as you use some formatting tricks by literally typing in things like, for instance, if you want bold, then it's the letter B inside of brackets, followed by your text, and then followed by the letter B inside of the square brackets again. Mm-hmm. And we can show you examples of that. We can probably bring it up in the text editor, but we can also show you what it looks like once it's done. The difference is pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. So why don't we look at what it looks like once it's done. So I'm going to pull up this one. So now you can see that we have some text that exists in that file, but also notice that this text here is red, and that's because we put some special formatting tags into that text file. Looks like they're not going to be able to see the windows that we put over here. Is there something we need to do to show them that, or should we just move on?
Yeah, we can go to a different camera.
Okay.
So if you want to show that,
you want to?
Yeah. So so you want to bring up this?
Yeah.
So
that just show the editor.
So I think to do that, this, and then show. Didn't know it. Sorry, I didn't know you were.
Yeah, and forgive us, we didn't realize that it wasn't possible to open up another little window and kind of show you something in it. So forgive us a moment while we try to pull it up. We kind of put Star on the spot here, asking him to bring this up suddenly. Sorry about that, Star.
That's all right. No.
Well,
Yeah, you know,
maybe
don't.
we can talk about that some other time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to.
Yeah, don't worry about it. We'll figure that out later on.
Okay, so
Just take our word for it.
yeah, there are some magical things that you can do when you're importing a text file. That back.
Uh-oh.
All right, prizes.
Prize time.
Rising.
Oh.
Am I on camera? I can't tell.
Oh, here.
Yeah, you are.
Maybe I am.
Yeah.
All right. First,
Oh, no, you need to go this way.
Pure Black 12 pack goes to Dugan Red Hammer. Pure White Dye 12 pack goes to Razzlemane Falcon. Die
Excellent.
Remover 12 pack goes to Christ Pallid. Magical Cycling Die 12 pack goes to Ill One. Magical Sparkle Die Mega Pack goes to Fer. 2 R's at the end. Magical Glowing Pulse Die Mega Pack goes to Carlion Aggressor. Magical Glowing Die Mega Pack goes to Spellfire Blood Moon. And Super Die Mega Pack goes to Daniel McLaughlin.
Super mega.
Super mega.
Super Mega.
If you take a screenshot of the thing you're trying to show, I can add it to. We can look at it in picture view.
Ah, okay. Yeah, let's look at that.
There we go. There's that clip thing too. The snip,
Quickly do that.
yeah, the snip tool is a nice little thing to show this off.
Okay.
And
So-
just put it to downloads.
All right.
And I can show where I was showing it. Yeah, and then if we go to. Yeah.
Oh, okay, great.
Let's fly through
Should
all
have
the.
showed up
Magical
in there.
journey.
Not saved to there.
Sure, we put it in downloads. There it is.
There.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, so yeah, you can see up here the tags that we used. The B inside of a square bracket, for instance, means bold, and so any text after that tag will be bold until this tag, which is the /B inside of square brackets, which ends the bold effect. This one here is a color, which is a color code that you can use various websites to find online, different colors. And basically, you'll just have to put in a 6-digit little code that represents that color. In this case, this is some sort of red that we've chosen for that title.
For those of you who have things like Photoshop or even some of the simpler graphics like DPaint and stuff programs, they have color pickers in there that you can choose to actually see the color you're picking, and then it shows the little hexadecimal code for that color, and that's all that is really.
Right. So there's similar ones for italics, which is just an I instead of a B, and then underline, which is just a U instead of an I or a B. So these kinds of things can, it takes a little bit extra work because you have to kind of, do some work beforehand in a separate editor and type it out and figure out where to put the tags. But if you put in that little bit of extra work, then you can get something that looks pretty cool in the game.
And you can see how I've written it here, by the way, just as an example, where it says written by, and then it gives my character's name. Underneath it, you see those long lines are just going off the screen. That's basically me just creating separate paragraphs. And so each paragraph is a giant, one giant long, essentially, series of sentences, which then you hit enter and it goes back over. And then, so this horrible little piece, and then the next one, of course, the Forest of New Britannia, those represent the beginnings of two separate little paragraphs. But once they get into the book, as you can kind of see, once we get back to that, let's see, how do we get back to that?
So
Star's going to help us get back to the main thing where we're looking in the game again.
Yeah.
Which is Unity game.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go back here, and I'm just going to go ahead and publish this book. Okay. Push. And so now you can see, that it has that red color, it's bold, and anywhere else that we have changed colors, it is applied there as well.
Yeah, so there's like a little thing to create an underline, which is its own little deal that you see kind of thick looking, but you can do it, you can use several different ways of kind of achieving something like that. Different colors of text that's meant to be kind of in a different voice. And then, that plus the final bit of formatting is that once you throw it in there, if you don't like where the things are appearing, you could add more spaces and more lines, and you can get things to go where you want it to. So, for instance, my little last name signature went on the next page because I gave it a couple lines so that it would pop over. And you can kind of check, go back and forth and check, change it, save it again. And then when you're done and you publish, then that's it. It's set in stone, right? At that point in time.
Right. Of course, you can always get another blank book, and if you wanted to make a different version of it, then you could do that. But you'd have to start with a new blank book.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's no limit as far as you can name any number of books the exact same name and have different contents in it. It doesn't matter.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, nothing stops you from recreating the same book again with slight changes.
Right. There's nothing stopping anybody else from creating a book, for instance, called Mother Loves You.
That's right.
But ours is going to say that it was created by Darkstar, because we're the ones that created it. So if we actually bring that into our inventory, search for that. As you can see, we've made a couple other copies of the same book before. Then you can see it says by Darkstar there in the tooltip. So then you know who actually created that book. So yeah.
Now what's fairly cool about this too, because I know a lot of people like to personalize their books, and they then can choose, okay, well, here's my blank book and just the default state. But then you can use a pattern to create a new cover for the book. Right?
Yeah, that's true. As we've done here, actually. So this one, which is kind of the standard blank book cover, you can see is in white text because it hasn't been reshaped. We haven't used a pattern to apply a new cover to that item. But these ones we have used a pattern to reshape that book, and so that's why they appear not only with the different color text in your inventory, but also with a different cover you can see in the tooltip.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's done on what you see before us, the handy tailoring table. And the idea is that you take the pattern gets cut up, used to, the idea is it cut up and used to like form the leather. And so the pattern is destroyed in the process of creating the book cover. But when you're done, your book will look different, right?
Yeah.
Can you show that real quickly and show the process?
Sure. Let's see. Okay.
Oh yes, it's not dark again.
All right. So here at the tailoring station, I'm just going to search for reshape, and I'll find that reshape book recipe. So double click on that. Grab a different book, so I'll just swap that out for this one that we just created. And so we're going to be applying a poetry book cover to this book that we just created. So as I'm hovering over the poetry book pattern, you can see in the tooltip what it's going to look like afterwards as that different book cover there. I'll just go ahead and click craft. And now you can see that our the text color of our book has changed to show that it has been reshaped. And now when we hover over it, we can see the new book cover.
Awesome.
Yeah, so now it has a poetry book or poetry cover.
Now, a question I'd asked earlier, and we were able to confirm it, is I wasn't sure if once you had a book, you had it filled with the stuff you wanted, and then you put a new cover on it, whether if you created copies of it, whether it would also create the copies with that same unique book cover. And the answer is no. If it, it uses the generic blank book, it creates more copies of it with all your text inside with those generic blank book covers, and you'll need more patterns if you want to make any of the copies you make share that same specialized book cover that you've added to it for the first one.
That's mostly true. So the more technical answer to that is that so when you actually go to copy a book, and maybe I'll just show what that looks like.
Please.
Of
course,
so I'm going to run over to the printing press here. So when you go to copy a book, it's actually going to just when you make a copy, it's going to use whatever book cover you have that your blank book has. So when I copy a book, I have to put the book that I want to copy, which is this Mother Loves You that we just created, and then a blank book next to it. And so whatever cover that blank book happens to have is what it will end up with once I copy the book. So if I hit craft right now, then this blank book, the cover is not going to change, but the text inside of it will change, and the title and everything.
So you could prep your blank books in advance with the covers you want, if that's how you wanted to handle it then.
That's true. So you can do that in any order. If you wanted, you could copy the books to just generic blank books and then later apply a new cover to your blank books, or you could do it in the other order. First apply your covers to the blank books, and then come over here to the printing press and copy the text over to those blank books with the special cover.
Now, something cool that I didn't know that you could do is that assuming you have all your blank books set up the way you want them to, you can mass produce. So if you wanted to drag a bunch of blank books into this.
That's true. So let's look.
There we go.
We happen to have a bunch of blank books. I'm just going to put a bunch of them in here. And now if I hit craft, then all of these are going to be copies of this one book.
Now the cool thing is that's an actual deviation from normally how batching works. This is something particular just to the printing press, in that it essentially will mass produce copies of these things.
Right.
This way.
That's something that is unique to the printing press. Yeah.
And it still gives you the cue that the books have not been altered because they're white, and then the orange books are the ones that have had new covers put on them.
Right.
Okay, that's cool. Now, one thing I wanted to mention is that we discovered, the great thing about a process like this is that as we go play with it for the first time and check things out, because this is the first time for me for sure, with the exception of what I was able to see with Minerva's help. But in playing with this and doing formatting, we noticed that there was a bug, and that the formatting, for some odd reason, if you had it, go through an amount of text that then carried over to the next page, the formatting wouldn't carry over. And so we're like, oh, that's interesting. We didn't know that was a problem. So since then, Joaquin has gone in and fixed the code to make sure that doesn't happen. So from now on, the formatting will flow over to the next page,
right,
which is really cool, actually.
Yeah. So that was, we find little things like that all the time, and so as we find those and as we hear about them on the bug forums, then of course we'll get around to fixing them.
And we have
so the last thing if we could show is mail.
Oh yeah,
that's another use of the writable system.
Okay.
So there's a mailbox over there, and you can use that paper.
Yeah.
Now, can you mail other things? Could I mail a book?
Yeah, you can mail objects, you can mail anything you want, but you definitely, if you want to mail a message, you need a writable.
So to quickly demonstrate mail, I just ran over here to my mailbox. It's placed on the lot, and double clicked on it, so it opens the mailbox interface. I actually have something in my inbox right now. But I want to send mail to someone, so I'm going to just click this button right here. So it's going to ask me who I want to send it to. I'm going to send it to Wizard Smoke. There's a valid player name. I'm gonna continue. All right. And so it'll ask you for a subject for your mail, but also you can drag and drop items into that mail to send those items to that player, including things that you've written. So for instance, that little note that I wrote earlier that just says hello, I'm going to just drag that into this mail, and so now this is part of the mail that I'm sending to Wizard Smoke. I'll also send the book, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll send the creepy book over to Wizard Smoke, and and maybe a few pieces of gold. I'll do 10 gold here. Or do you have any gold?
Oh, you're taking Darkstar's gold.
Yep, I'm taking your gold. Taking your gold. So sending mail does cost a small fee based on the weight of the items that you're sending. But it's really not that much.
Which Darkstar gets charged for?
Yeah.
We're totally being taken for a ride now.
So sorry, Star. I'm spending 26 gold right now.
Wow, to send those items.
Well, 16 gold as a fee, and then I'm also sending 10 gold.
Oh, okay.
So I have a subject. I've got a couple items in there, and I'm just gonna hit send. So now Wizard Smoke has received some mail with some interesting literature.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome, guys. Thanks for walking everyone through the player writeable stuff.
Yeah, it's been fun. Thanks for tuning in.
Cool.
All right.
Yep, no
Thank
problem.
you.
Yep.
Come Halloween, come October, I'll actually read the thing aloud if you all want.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that'd be awesome.
That'd be awesome.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Yep, bye-bye, take care. Bye-bye, everybody.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us for our first full live stream here at the office. It was technically our second live stream, but our first full one. And you guys have been great. We appreciate your support as always. You're an amazing community. And reminder, if you are interested in getting any of these dungeon-themed stretch goals, you have until midnight to make a purchase to be eligible, or you can join the rewards program. And tune in next week. We'll have another release live stream. By that time, release 58 will be live with Tameable Wyverns and a bunch of other stuff. So join us next week. And then the week after that, we will have the release 58 live stream where we'll talk about seasonal content, including Pumpkinhead and Krampus and his army of zombie children. But, because Krampus eats children. That's the whole legend of the Krampus. So, spoilers! Oh my God. Spoilers. All right. Thank you for joining us. It's been a great live stream. Bye.